What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video, and I'm sorry I haven't made a video in quite a while, but we have some breaking news here. I'm a tad bit late, but it's okay. That the Giants just re-signed wide receiver and fan favorite Sterling Shepard to a 4-year, $41 million deal. I don't know if that's how much money of that is guaranteed. Didn't really look at the specifics of it, but I'm very happy about this move, but I'm not at the same time. I'll get into that in just a second, but let's talk about the good for a second. And Sterling Shepard is, before Saquon Barkley, he was my favorite Giant on the team, besides Eli Manning, of course. But Sterling Shepard is one of my favorite young guys on the team. I loved him in Oklahoma. I'm sure a lot of people did too, watching him in Oklahoma. He's one of those guys that I knew was going to be a Giant. I did a lot of, scouting on him, and I just felt like he was a perfect replacement to Victor Cruz, and he sure was. He's a huge slot threat. He's rated by Pro Football Focus as one of the best slot receivers in the NFL, and you could just see it on the field. The guy runs outstanding routes. If you guys see him run a route, I've watched his college tape, and he was one of the best route runners I've ever scouted ever. And I haven't been doing it in a while, but I've been doing it a lot, scouting and things like that for about 5 years now, and I've still yet to see a better route runner than Sterling Shepard was in college, and he carried that over into the NFL. His routes are just insane. Really breaks a lot of ankles, and I love Sterling Shepard, huge slot threat. But a lot of people are wondering why he doesn't fit into, why we signed him for so much, and how he is just like every other receiver. And this is what I've been talking about, guys, for quite a while, that we need a big receiver. A lot of people were like, oh, it doesn't matter if someone's 5'11" or 6 foot, you can still play on the outside. It does matter. And the fact that we have a couple of receivers not even 6 foot tall, we don't have any receivers over 6 foot tall besides Cody Latimer. I don't think anybody, I think Benny Fowler's maybe tall. I think we re-signed him as well. But nobody of big names are mentioning. Cody Latimer's all right. We don't know what we're going to get from him yet. Obviously. And so our top three guys, Corey Coleman, if you want to consider him a top three, Golden Tate, who actually plays a lot of outside. You guys may not notice that, but with Philadelphia, with Detroit, even with Seattle, he actually played a lot of outside. He's primarily a slot guy. I get it. But he's going to be playing a lot of outside, being that we don't have the resources right now. So he's going to be playing a lot of outside, and Sterling Shepard is going to take up the slot. And keep in mind, Sterling Shepard could play outside too. I don't know if you guys ever seen Sterling Shepard on the outside, but when he does play on the outside, he's still a huge threat. Obviously, his biggest threat is in the slot. But a lot of you guys seem to forget too that you guys don't need just one slot guy. I mean, you could have two slot guys. You could have a 3 wide receiver set and have one guy on the outside and 2 guys on the inside. I'm sure you guys didn't know that when it comes to football knowledge or football IQ or just play calling and things like that. You guys, we can have two guys in the slot. You guys need to remember that it's just a distance thing. A slot isn't really a huge deal besides a distance from the quarterback. You know, you could move a guy inside. You could motion him inside. You could have Sterling Shepard on one side of the slot, Corey Coleman on the left side of the slot, and then Cody Latimer on the outside, and you could have it like that, or Golden Tate on the inside, or whatever it is. It doesn't matter. You guys can have 2 guys in the slot and 1 guy on the outside. A team. A lot of people think a team needs to have 2 guys on the outside and 1 guy in the slot. It doesn't need to work like that. That's usually how it works, but it doesn't need to work that way. So let's talk about the bad thing, right? The bad thing was that, the bad thing is that I kind of lost my train of thought. The bad thing is that Sterling Shepard, I think, honestly, the Giants might trade him. I know, let me slow down a little bit. Just like the Patriots were interested in Odell Beckham. The Patriots were interested in Odell Beckham, and then everybody was like, oh, we're not really going to, trade him. And we're in the talks, but we're not really going to trade him. We're not thinking about trading him. And then, eventually Odell Beckham was traded, obviously he had his reasons. But Sterling Shepard, he's drawing interest from the Patriots. He's been mentioned in a lot of trade talks, and the Giants just re-signed him ahead of schedule, and he wasn't even a huge priority to re-sign. I get he's one of our top players, but he's not a huge priority. And the Giants re-signed him and gave him a pretty decent deal, $10.5 million. I'm not going to complain about that whatsoever. I think it was a great deal by the Giants. I probably would have done the same thing. But I don't know. Every bone in my body says Sterling Shepard's going to be traded by the end of the year. It would suck to see him go. He's one of my favorite players. I want him to remain a Giant, but we all know that doesn't always happen. But that's the only bad thing I have. I'm really confident in Sterling Shepard moving forward. I think a team needs a good slot receiver. I think that's where the NFL is headed towards now. It's not really those big Brandon Marshall type receivers, Randy Moss type receivers. Even though there are a couple of those guys in the NFL. You got your Mike Thomas. You got a couple other guys in there that are those big, tall, just regular wide receivers that you see ever since the old NFL days. But now you're starting to see these slot guys, your Julian Edelmans, your Sterling Shepards, your Tyreek Hills. You're seeing a lot of those guys in the NFL now, and they're starting to take over the NFL. And I'm happy we got Sterling Shepard on the squad. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. The podcast, I hope to have it on Thursday. Maybe I'll go live sometime in the meantime, just to talk to you guys, and then the podcast will be Thursday night, which is tomorrow night. So hopefully you guys can join in. Hopefully I actually make it, but I'll keep you guys posted. Just been going through some life right now, so that's all it is, guys. But yeah, I'm trying to make time for more videos. Keep that in mind. The draft is coming out. I'm going to be live streaming the draft. And with that being said, I will see you guys in the next video.